Type 1 if you're having a good day. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind today, but you guys are used to that. Hi, one and all. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. About 54 minutes after 9 on this, it's Thursday, right? Thursday. I hope you guys are having a good day. I see a lot of ones. That's good. Well, Crispy actually doing better than all of us. Crispy Biscuits coming in at 1.5. I agree with you, though. Be better once we get to tomorrow. It's bring on Friday. It's getting to the weekend. Travis is undetermined. Yeah, it's on Facebook. I get that. You guys can comment on the social media side as always. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. We don't have TikTok yet on this system, but I think it'll be coming before long. I hope you guys are doing well. A lot to cover, and I'll be saying I never have a ton of time with you all. I wish I had more. I do. But there's a lot to explain as we get into the pattern for the weekend and certainly the long term. For the first time in quite some time, the long term is getting more and more interesting, a little more active. A sign, of course, that globally things are about to change as we get into the autumn season here before long. And I think we won't have too long to wait to get a little taste of that, as you'll see here in just a second. First off, let's start with the countdown. Yeah, well, now we're under the 40-day mark. Thank goodness. That's some promising news, right? At least we get to under the 40. As I mentioned before, once you get under 40, things really get a little more exciting. Last year, fall arrived just about on time to the day. This year, it's going to be a little odd, but I do see that we'll at least get some teases. And sometimes those hurt more because I don't really see an end to the 90s yet. Usually we get to a point where we say, this is it. This is our not last 90-degree day of the season. I don't see that yet, that I can say that, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks I will be able to. We're getting there, slowly but surely, right? Quick update on, well, first there was a live look at the fair. First day of the fair, yeah, opened, I think, 55 minutes ago? The exhibit halls did there at the Fair and Expo Center. The Midway Throwaway, I still call it the Midway, but no, officially it's a throwaway. It's hard to get used to. It's hard to get used to change. That opens up at about 3 o'clock today for the kids to get out of school for later on for this afternoon. So good timing there. Downpours yesterday. Boy, once again, they were very spotty, but potent, where you got a quick little heavy downpour. A lot of you were missed. I get it. I got some rain at my house, but not a ton. I had more thunder than really anything, it seemed like, before I actually got any showers. Big, giant raindrops, though, were falling out there. So it was definitely a tropical type of setup, just not enough to really fire up the storms. They can't really tower very well in the environment. The front is losing its influence in the region, so the push to try to get those clouds tall enough to get into a thunderstorm level especially is harder to do. And today will be even harder than what yesterday was, and we'll see that trend continue all the way through the weekend. So yes, there will be some on the radar today, but more than likely your odds of staying dry are pretty high. But yesterday, Eastern Jefferson County got some downpours. Clark County, I think you guys, I was tracking a cell. It was right around the Clark County forests, all the way from Henryville to the Memphis exit. You guys got really a decent downpour for a while. It seemed like that was very stubborn. And also down to the south, around Hodgeville, you all had some showers in that area for a while. And even parts of Marion County. Hello to Allie. I don't know if you got any in Bradfordsville. I think it was close, though, when you had some of those showers there. Okay, so let's talk about the drought index. Well, Margaret, you just said Marion County needs rain. You're right. The drought index updated an hour ago. And it's, again, ground is sampled on Tuesdays. We get the map that you see here on Thursdays. And we always seem to talk about this time of year because it is the driest part of the year typically as we get into September and October. Not that unusual to see this map start to show dry patches. Last year it did the exact same thing. Right now it's south of the parkways that could use a little more rainfall. But we do have some rain chances in the extended, not a ton. So when the ground is sampled Tuesday of next week, it will likely be before our next decent rain chance. So I have a feeling that the yellow you see there, the very low end scale, it's technically not a drought, it's abnormally dry. It's right before you get to a drought status. But anyway, that should expand. That should expand on Tuesday. So when I show you this map next Thursday, don't be shocked if it's a little different, but I'll put some context to it when we get a little closer, okay? This morning, I did see the cumulus clouds on my way in the distance, and they're actually from some of the showers way down in southern Kentucky. You actually see the tops of them that were trying to form there. So some decent ones this morning, but again, these are not going to last very long. They just can't, again, keep that. They don't have a tailpipe, as I always like to say, to keep going very long, so they just collapse. But you can see a lot of sun, hazy sunshine in the area for the day today. The front, as I mentioned, is washing itself out and heading to the southeast is really where that tropical low still is, and this is not anything to worry about, but it's been really parked in parts of the Carolinas and southeast for a while. It's starting to slowly lose its influence, and this is important because obviously this feature will still be in the neighborhood when we get the low, which is now Aaron, approaching from the south and east. So this low, tropical low here will be a bit more factor, all right, or typical low pressure should be. So something to watch. Your highest moisture content, you can tell a difference, yeah, all into the south where we have really a couple of smaller low pressures along that front, but our values have dropped into our wave country. So while it still feels humid out and you're still going to sweat walking out to check the mail, the air is actually drier today. Not as much moisture in the atmosphere where it counts in the area. So that's the reason why the number of thunderstorms will be diminishing. Your flash flooding threat obviously is going to be down to the south where those higher values are. We do not have to worry about that here locally. So let me get you through Futurecast. We'll go through this fast because there's not a whole lot to show here, and I think you guys are fairly aware of what is coming, right? So isolated downpours possible today. As always, around Louisville and the heat island effect, sometimes that rise of the concrete jungle, we call it, can be enough to act as a mini front, if you will, and allowing for some of those cumulus clouds to get taller. So be aware of that. Otherwise, it could be in southern Kentucky. Marion County, I mean, you do have a better shot than the rest of us because you're closer to the somewhat higher moisture values in areas to the north are. So you have a chance, a little better chance than the rest of us probably. These will fade out. Tomorrow, we'll do it again. Get a little hotter. We'll add a degree or two to the highs each and every day as we get into the weekend here. Isolated shower, thunderstorm chance on Friday, and then on Saturday, same storyline. Temperatures in the 90s, and at least the moisture level won't be so high that we're talking about heat advisories coming out. I don't see that for this weekend, but the actual numbers will be really bad enough, mid to upper 90s. The heat index would only be 3 or 4 above that mark, which would be around 100 to 101. But again, at that point, if you're already that close in the actual temperature, the heat index has less of an impact or value to it. But anyway, just want to let you know that's why we're not looking at heat advisories, because we are not going to have as much moisture in the air to really create those higher values. Okay, so the heat is very well known for the weekend. So let me do a quick update on Aaron, and then I'll talk about the long term because I know that's what you guys really want to know about, right? Chuck, I know Chuck does not like the cold weather. Chuck, I know it's going to be rough when we get into snow talk this year. I know you're not a fan. Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there. Hang it. What the heck? No alert? No alerts. You're right, Carrie. No alert for that. Again, everything will be below criteria. Okay, so here's Aaron. Boy, I tell you what, Aaron's getting a little more organized, actually very well organized today. This is a look from space, looking down on it as the sun is coming up this morning. And you can tell that, boy, it's got that good circulation to it. It's getting a little more symmetrical. And when we look at the actual cloud tops, you can tell that the thunderstorms are starting to erupt much closer to the center now. In fact, Aaron, if it continues this development, I think Aaron will be a hurricane later today. All right, it's getting organized quick. So it's getting close to that status. Let me give you the latest numbers. This will be updated when I'm on the air for the midday show, by the way. So I'll show you. Oh, by the way, that dust, look how small that area has shrunk down. So again, not an issue for Aaron. Okay, here are the stats on Tropical Storm Aaron. Again, right now at 50. Once it gets over that 74 mark, it's officially a hurricane, and I think it will be getting there as early as this afternoon or evening. The track on that did shift a little bit more west before it makes that turn to the north. Not a whole lot has changed on the turn part. That still looks likely. I think it's more of an issue of how close is it going to get to, say, the Bahamas. It does look a little better for Bermuda, to be honest, because at this point it may stay just west of Bermuda, but they're not out of the woods yet. There could still be impact. But at the moment, we are more concerned about, say, the eastern side of the island chain. I mean, this is going to be a large system. As it gets more west, it will grow in size, so its impacts will be far-reaching. A lot of rip current issues. Cruise ships. I don't know. Is anyone going on a cruise? First off, you probably are not going now. But if anyone's going on the cruise, Bahamas is a popular route. Well, the Bahamas and Cozumel is probably the most popular. But right around the Bahamas itself, yeah, there's going to be issues with Aaron. And this will be approaching this weekend into early next week. So make sure to stay close to the forecast changes. The models on this still have a bit of a spread on how far, again, that turn could be. Most of them do agree that it would miss the United States. There's Bermuda. Again, would be on the eastern side. The side you don't want to be on is the eastern side of this, and that's right now where Bermuda is looking to be. But certainly I know the Carolinas, especially the Outer Banks, watching it carefully because its size. I mean, this would be the potential center of it. So you got to keep in mind its size, its reach is more like this as it makes that turn. So again, it could still cause at least some issues on the East Coast. But East Coast is not entirely out of the woods, but so far I don't see anything alarming, only because we do have a front that's heading our way as we head into next week, and with that front being in the Ohio Valley, that should be enough to force it to make that more dramatic turn to slide in between the two areas of high pressure we've been talking about all week long. All right, so that's the Aaron update. It's going to be a headline. Already has been, but it's really going to be a big storyline for this weekend. All right, so what's our game plan? Well, we know the heat is building in this weekend. You can see the surge of heat, the heat dome, if you will. Here's Aaron moving in. This is the Euro, by the way. We get into Wednesday. This is where the heat begins to taper down. The front gets closer to us. As I've been talking about all week, I don't think the front really will make a lot of progress until Aaron crosses our latitude playing field here and makes that turn. Then the front should drop down, and I still think it's going to be roughly around that Wednesday, Thursday time period that will happen. Now, some of this is going to be rain-cooled air into the 80s, but in general, even with some sunshine behind the front, I do think we're going to see a nice little drop. What is really interesting is that Aaron is going to do a little dance with a strong low in the Hudson Bay area, the feng shui type of thing, where they kind of go around each other. That dumbbell effect, that I like to call it usually in the wintertime, is going to be interesting because that should allow for not only the surge of cool air that comes into play later this week, but a second push of cool air that is just beyond our 10-day right now that I think looks more impressive. And I'm talking about some areas of the Ohio Valley may not get out of the 60s. Wave country may stay in the 70s for highs. So that second surge, because the dumbbell effect is a bit delayed, and again, just beyond the 10-day, but it is showing up. Nice little teaser, right? Is it something to get overly excited about as far as locking in and summer's done? Not necessarily, because once that happens, and this is the far out I can go on the map here, is the 24th of August. The wind flow, I think, is really going to ramp up across the northern United States into Canada. Everything's going to speed up faster. So what does that mean for us? It means that heat waves will be more limited from here on out after this weekend. We could still get into the 90-degree range. We'd even get up to 94 or so, especially if we get into a drought status. We could still see those kind of surges, but they will be much more limited in time frame, only a day or two. And then you'll see a dramatic drop, highs in the 70s and 80s. May warm back up again and drop. I think it's going to be very much a more dramatic up and down type of setup that we're going to see as we close out August and head into the first 10 days of September, which is going to be interesting to track. because now that we're getting stronger wind fields back into the Ohio Valley, now we'll have to start paying more attention to any thunderstorm chances. So the extend looks interesting. One thing the Euro's done well, let me show you this full screen. This is a look at the trends on each run of the Euro. And again, you can see that it locked in on the heat wave on the 3rd, or actually the 5th of August. It locked in on the heat wave developing, and every run since, it's had that core heat wave pretty much locked in there. So the Euro's done great on that. But notice what it's doing at the extended. It really both waves of cool weather. The first shot with the front, and then the second from the dumbbell effect, but it doesn't know the timing yet. So it's varying a lot on each run between the 70s, 80s, and some 90s kind of thrown in. So confidence is low on the timing part of this. I agree with that. I think it's going to be a bit more of a challenge, but I do think it's going to get a little more interesting. Also, oh boy, remember all these maps? Yeah, the teleconnection maps. This is a look at the North Atlantic Oscillation. What you need to know is when you see this trend and the circles is the most recent run, and the different color lines are all the previous runs, but the circles was the black and white circle is the most recent, but it's below the black line. This indicates that certainly the pattern across the eastern part of the United States is going to slow down, and we're going to get these dramatic drops there that will start to happen at the end of next week. Now, it does trend back up. Previous run, now the most recent run was really slow with it, but it does trend back up, and that's the reason why I think we're going to see this dramatic ups and downs. Anytime you mess with the NAO and you see it kind of go up and down like this, it gets a little more wild, and that's the trend I think we're going to have as we head into the next couple of weeks. Does this mean that we're going to have an early fall, or we're going to have a wild winter? Stay tuned. I know you're like, come on, Brian. I am going to be working on a fall outlook soon. I don't know if it'll come out next week. I'm hoping it'll be next week. We'll get the fall outlook in place. And as you guys know, I start on the winter forecast soon. Winter forecast will be Halloween night. And boy, it's going to be an interesting one this year, I think, too. But I don't want to get too in the weeds on that. So there you go. There's the 10-day, self-explanatory, hot weather, blah, blah, blah. There's the thunderstorm chance next week, and then you see the drop temporarily next weekend, though. The next weekend, not this one, but the next one. I do think that little warm bubble will come back, but there will be another drop just beyond what you see there on the 10-day. Okay, what questions can I get? Chris. How does ENSO, neutral influence Ohio Valley, fall severe weather season? And Chris is referring to El Nino, La Nina, the patterns in the Eastern Pacific. It's a toss-up, Chris. It can be either way. The other factors will come into play. When you're neutral, then you're more at risk of the NAO, like I showed you, the teleconnections, a little more of a factor at that point. There are trends. We're going to get back to La Nina this winter, but I'll cover that in the outlook in the coming days. Let's see. Carrie, I bought an Accurite rain gauge on your recommendation, but it shows less than my old style container gauge. Accurite does quite well. That's what I use, and it's been pretty spot on, and I haven't had any issues with it at all. Just got to make sure you don't get any debris in it, so always keep an eye on it. Otherwise, I think it does quite well. The ones that you buy, at a store, the container ones, yes, the tubes, they do fairly well, but they do tend to be less accurate. Sometimes really overestimate on rainfall. So the Accurite, I think, does better. Hey, Richard. Hey, Brian, if Aaron curves out to sea earlier than expected, will that negate the dumbbell effect? Very good observation, Richard. And yes, it would. To an extent, it would be a little more located in the central Atlantic and North Atlantic, and therefore the dumbbell effect would happen, but the drop behind it would likely miss the northeast part of the United States as far as impacting our weather. But as of right now, I think there will be some impact to it. It's going to be fairly large on how that will all evolve. And there's another low that kind of sneaks in behind it, not to get into weeds in long term, but there's another low that drops in from northwest Canada that will drop in and kind of feed into that dig. So I think that's where it's going to get a little more exciting. But Aaron's a catalyst, as all tropical systems are. They are the wild card in an extended forecast this time of year. You just don't know. You can have, if we didn't have Aaron, to be honest, at play, we probably would be dealing with this heat wave for a while. We would have a different weather extended type of setup. So tropical systems shake things up. They really do. And we're not done. Obviously, we're going to have more. But so that's why my confidence in long term has got to be low for now, because we have 3 tropical waves still coming off the coast of Africa. That could really throw a hair in everything down the road. So again, I don't want to get too specific, but I'm just giving you a broad idea. Kelly, we're looking at an early second tornado season in the fall. Good question. I think this one is probably going to be more of a typical one for us, which is late November and December is usually our second severe weather season. It's not common for us to get a severe weather outbreak in September or October. It's happened. In fact, my first day here at WAVE was a high-risk day from SBC. What a great first day that was. In fact, I flew, I think I was the last one to be in Air 3, and we flew over Mount Washington, where there was some damage from a tornado the next day. And boy, that was the only time I've ever been in a helicopter, and likely will be the only time in a helicopter. It's weird, guys, trying to go forward, but yet you're going sideways at the same time. It's, yeah, I'll stick with the plane. I'm fine. Travis, hope I answered your question. Yes, there will be at least additional waves coming off the coast of Africa. Whether or not they become anything more significant, we don't know yet. But it's that time of the year, so odds are pretty good for that to happen. Hey, Jacob, what are the lows outside of Louisville during this weekend? You're going to be above 70, Jacob. You're not going to get below 70. But Louisville will be a little more in the mid-70s, as you see there, type of range. But I think you'll probably be about 70, 71. So not a huge cooling off, unfortunately, for the weekend. It's going to be a hot weekend. Next week, though, I do think, especially in that second wave, we'll have a chance to get our ACs caught up. Carrie, is a half-inch difference. That's significant, Carrie. Keep an eye on it. Let me know on these other rain events how things trend. I mean, we'll make sure things working all right for you there. I'll see if I can help anyway. I don't know what I can do from a distance, but again, mine works great. Too much water for me to ever go on a cruise. I like to stay on dry land. I like cruises. It is a whole other world. It is a whole other world. But I personally like them because you really don't know that you're floating, and I haven't really been on rough seas before on them, but I mean, really just a floating hotel. So I know we've all seen the Netflix special. All right, I get it. There are some moments where it could be a little scary. I've never faced anything like that, but trust me, I watched it. I think we all did. Hey, Jeremy, does September look above normal in temps? No, I think it's going to average. See, that's the problem, is that it's going to be more of the spikes of ups and downs. So will that average out to normal? Maybe. But we're going to still have some more dramatic ups and downs within that month, if that makes sense. So it's hard to say overall how the month will trend. I just don't think it's going to be as it looks now anyway. We'll see. But as all the data shows that I've been looking at the past couple of days, I don't see any just stagnant, repeating, boring weather. It looks a little more exciting for weather enthusiasts anyways. And that will come with pretty days, pretty fall days, at least fallish kind of days. So I'm not trying to be all gloom and doom that it's going to be severe weather and heavy rain and flooding. No, there will be some pretty days, I think, coming. So this is good. I think the important thing that I think a lot of us are wanting to know is the heat over? Because we're all over it, I think. Most of us are, except for Chuck and we're Steven. Steven, I know, he's not over the heat. But this is the third hottest summer on record for Louisville. And you're thinking, wait, what? Really? It's only been 97 for the hottest. But you have to understand that we're not recovering at night, and we're getting hot during the day, and we're having this be very prolonged. It's been a very humid summer. So because of that, the average shifted. So that's how we measure the hottest summer. We don't measure just on high temperatures. It's the average temperature of day and night. It's how we average the seasons out and years out. And the summer is averaging out as the third hottest because of especially the overnight lows. So we haven't had any record highs this summer. Zero. we've had a couple record warm lows, but not record highs. So because of that, it just seems a little odd. But that's how it goes in the averages world there, if those that love statistics. Try doing a long form blog for the winter forecast instead of a posting. Well, I tell you what, Stephen, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to do it this year. I don't want to give too much away yet because I'm still working on the details. It takes a long time for something that comes out once a year. It takes a long time to get everything planned out, but it will be different this year. It will be different this year. I think you guys will like it. So, but I'm not going to change the time period. You will know what is coming by Halloween night. I think there's been times I've been debating on changing it, and I'm like, nah, I think Halloween nights, I've been doing it for years. I've been doing Snow Talk 22 years now. I've been doing that at other stations too. I was doing Snow Talk. So the blog's been around a long time, but Halloween's kind of always been the tradition. Connie Joe, yep, definitely a pool day. Sunday or Monday, you got it. I mean, it's going to be hot. If you still got the pool going, keep it going. You're going to be popular. Everyone good? I think everyone's good. All right. I know it's kind of a quiet. There's not a whole lot to talk about when it's just hot and it's sunny out. Everyone's like, okay, what else are we going to talk about? Cruises? Again, yeah. So I apologize. I know it's kind of just rambling here, but I just want you guys to understand that there will be some changes to this 10-day. We're very confident on the short-term aspect of this, but the second half is going to be a bit more of a pain. So be patient. Of course, I'll be here every day, keeping you guys updated on how this all evolves. All right, I'm going to get out of here and get ready for the midday show. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. You take care of yourselves. Stay cool. And if you go out to the fair, eat a corn dog for me. But also keep in mind, Tuesday is wave day at the fair. I'll be out there at about 1 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. So anyone going? If so, type in the chat so I know to look for you guys, because I'll be walking around all over the place. So I'll be at the booth for a bit, but I'll also be walking around everywhere. So if you get a chance to come out, I would love to say hello to you guys in person and shake your hand and thank you again for all your support there. So again, that'll be Tuesday at the South Wing there at the Fair Expo Center. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. I'll see you guys coming up on the flip side.